What about others? They all are typing. Okay, Pranshu is joining us from Shanti Aesthetic School, Ahmedabad.
All right, so Naisa is saying, my name is Naisa. I am from Sherwood High School and from Bangalore. Good to know that. And Bhumi is from Sangam Vihar.
Bhumi is from, yes.
Yes. So Riyansh is joining us from
Riyansh is from Mount Caramel Central School, Mangalore. Very good. Nalluru Nisarga. Ma'am, I am from Bangalore and I study in Orchards International School. Very good. Nice.
And Mukta is joining us from JDS Ahmedabad, Godavi. Good to know that. All right, so let me tell you about the flow of the session. First, Megha ma'am will be going to paste few chat links in the chat box and she'll be going to explain you about that. Then you'll be going to meet your mentor, wherein I can see that you all are excited to meet your mentor, right? So after that, I'll be going to show you a short informative PPT. Then I'll be going to give you a dashboard tour wherein you can have access of your material. All right. Hope I'm clear about this. Yes, good. All right. So all over to you, Megha ma'am.
Sure, ma'am. Hope this chat link is shared to everyone, right? Show me thumbs up if you're able to see the chat links. Very good. Okay, kids. As you can see, the first link is all about syllabus link. If you are knowing your syllabus, you will just click on this particular link and you will get to know about your syllabus. Payment can be made at this to click on this particular link. And if you're not enrolling for this batch, what are you waiting for? Just click on this particular link and enroll for this batch. Okay. If you are If you want to share your feedback, just click on this particular link and you can click on this particular link and share the feedback. All the batch details will be necessary. All the batch details will be. In case of further queries, you can email us at support@olympiadsuccess.com or you can just WhatsApp on this given two particular numbers. If you find any internet glitch,
Yes, Naisa, you can click on these particular links. So you can copy pasted these links on your notepad also. All right. So later on, whenever you want to check all the details, you can check on given these particular links. Okay, your syllabus link, if you have not enrolled for this course, definitely you can just click on this link and you can complete a payment process and we'll see you in the classes. So in case you want to give us a feedback, you can click on this particular link and we'll receive your feedback. About batch details, you can click on this link and you'll get to know a detail about it. All right. So as already Megha has mentioned that in case you have any further queries, you can just email us support@olympiadsuccess.com or you can WhatsApp us on these two numbers. All right. Hope we are clear to everyone. Quickly show me thumbs up on the screen. Oh, great. All right. So I think let's make you introduce with your mentor. She's a wonderful mentor. Her name is Miss Anjali. She'll be going to take forward your classes. So she's having a conceptual clarity and she loves to attract kids like you. And her classes are very interactive and interesting. So all over to you, Anjali ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Thank you, Pooja ma'am, for such a nice introduction. Okay, kids. So as ma'am has already said, my name is Anjali Joy, and I have completed my graduation mains in physics from Calicut University, Kerala. And from last 7 to 8 years, I have been teaching in different schools in Rajasthan, as well as I was working in Hyderabad also, Delhi School of Excellence in the region of Attapur. So from last 2 years, I have been associated with Olympiad Success, and currently I'm taking classes for grade 4. So I'm also excited and eager to be your mentor to help you in this preparation, not only for the Olympiad exams, for all kind of exams that you are preparing for, your school exams as well. And let us together work on it. And it's a teamwork, right? So what I can do, I can just advise you, I can teach you, I can share what I know. And what I expect in return is your cooperation, and you have to work on it, right? And you have to share your doubts, any conceptual clarity if you need. Again, you want me to repeat something, you have to share with me. Okay, so today's class, you are on mute, but the actual classes, you can unmute yourself and you can interact with me. You can type your queries in the chat box, right? You can watch the recorded videos, and that's how we'll be working together as a team. Okay, so thank you, everyone. Over to you, Pooja ma'am.
Thank you so much, Anjali ma'am. So let me quickly share my screen with you all and I'll tell you about the course. Hope my screen is visible to everybody clearly. No, Muk, it's not visible. You're just nodding your head like this. Is it visible? Okay, great. So I welcome everybody at the platform of Olympiad Success, wherein Olympiad Success is India's largest preparation platform. We do provide program named School Plus that includes subjects mathematics, English, science, logical reasoning, communication, spoken and written, Vedic maths and coding. We do provide one-on-one online classes for different boards for grades 2 to 10. We do have preparation classes for international Olympiad examinations. So you can meet our rank holders on the screen. They are kids like you only. For Olympiad examinations, what do you have to do? As you know, Olympiad examinations are a little tougher than the regular examinations. So you have to spare every day 2 hours extra from your regular studies that you can prepare well for these examinations. So if you prepare well, you can also become a rank holder like them. Okay, so what all we will be going to provide in the live classes, there'll be group sessions with around 20 students delivered through Zoom platform via seasoned tutors. Session will be 3 days per week. Days will be Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Timing will be 8 p.m. till 9:15 p.m. with 5 minutes of break. The session will include mix of practice questions, doubt session, and so on. Student will get all the reading material and particular material access on the dashboard. Soon I'm going to give you a tour for the same. These all are the relevant links. No need to worry. Links have been pasted in the chat box and Megha ma'am will paste it again for you. So fees for this course will be 8,925 rupees. It will be for a 40 session course. Payment can be made by clicking on this particular link. Fees includes all in online classes, deleting notes, practice of previous papers and access to Olympiad Success platform. So what all you need for these classes? A laptop or desktop with good internet connection, a good camera for better picture clarity, a good headphones for better audio clarity, that you should not miss any of your session which your mentor is going to take forward. So when are the regular classes going to start? From coming Friday, that is 12th of July. So in 23-24 Olympiad Success has students from more than 5,000 schools across India and abroad. So that's all about the course detail. Now I'll take you through the dashboard. So let's go towards the platform. And then we are good to go. Hope my screen is visible to everybody once again. So students, what you have to do, you have to just enter this URL olympiadsuccess.com. And then you will get this page on your screen. After this, you have to enter your correct user details. Make sure that you fill correct one, otherwise you will not be able to log in. After logging in, you will get your profile details on your screen when you are supposed to check all the details. In case you find any error, you can just rectify it over here and you can click on update button. After this, you have to click on live classes, in which you will get all your material. We'll be starting with your subject selection. You have to select your subject and your topic, then only you'll be able to see your specific material. So you can see here is a schedule for your reference, which will give you clarity that in this session we are going to go with a specific topic. So you can see everything is proper, standardized and customized for you all, when there are test discussion also after completion of every chapter, and there are super classes also in the last. That covers a doubt session for you all. So here is a holiday calendar for your reference, that you can plan your days accordingly, because already classes thrice a week, and there are festival holidays also for you, right? So here is the reading material for your preference. See, you can see there is a material in detail that you can practice well. Okay, so material is in detail, little bit more according to the Olympiad examinations, that you get extra knowledge for it. So there are 7 sets you can see. Okay, so each and every PDF is downloadable. For that, you have to just click it here on the top. So these are the question papers for your practice. Right, so I'll refer you to just download the paper, take out a printout, solve it, and check your answer keys, that where you have commit a mistake, right? So each and every PDF is downloadable. For that, you have to just click here to download the PDF, and you are good to go. Here is the answer key, that you can check how many questions you have done correct and how many questions you have done wrong, that you can practice again. Okay. So you can see there are 6 sets, okay, for your practice. So here are the worksheets for more practice. You have to just select your subject and then you are good to go. Here you have to click on take exam. I'm going to show you that how you can attempt one worksheet. So here are the instructions. Make sure that you read each and every instruction carefully and select over here and then click on start worksheet. Once you have attempted question 1, let's say animals move in search of shelter, food, defense, all of them. So we are going to select our answer. Once you're done with question 1, you have to move on next. For that, you have to click on next button. In this way, polar bears have a thick layer of fat called dash to protect them from the cold. So you can see that each and every question is formatted in a very good way, okay, wherein it will be going to give you a deep knowledge and deep understanding. So once you have done the second answer, you have to move on third. So let's see, I have doubt in third question. So I want to review this question again before submitting my worksheet. For that, I'm going to select and mark for review. Okay. So moving ahead, which one of these is herbivore? So moving ahead, now I want to submit my worksheet. Once you have done all your questions, then you can submit your worksheet. But I have marked third question for review. So I'm going to select my answer and then I'm going to move ahead. So now I'm going to go to submit my worksheet. Yes, I have reviewed all my questions and my worksheet is submitted. Now you can check your performance also, that how you have performed your worksheet. For that, you have to just click on performance button. Select your subject and your worksheet, which one you have attempted just now. And we're going to see how we have attempted. See, I've attempted 4 questions, wherein it's showing the percentage, how many are correct, how many are wrong. Okay. So that's all about dashboard. If anybody is having any doubt and queries related to the PPT and dashboard, so drop it in the chat box. I'll be happy to answer your queries. So NISA is saying you will get the details on mail or WhatsApp. Yes. Which kind of details, NISA, you want to ask? Drop it in the chat box. You're asking about course details, Nisa? Nisa, I'm asking you have a question. Will we get the details on mail or WhatsApp, right? So what details you're asking from me? Let me unmute you. Yes, Nisa, speak better.
Ma'am, you said that you sent us us those links on the chat, but once I rejoined, I couldn't find them. So will you send the link
Links.
on
Sure, we will
WhatsApp?
resend the links just now. Okay. Mega Ma'am, can you please reshare the links in the group once again? Can you copy paste it, Nisa? Will it be okay? Or you want us to send it on your WhatsApp number?
Yes, okay.
It's fine. Okay. Mega Ma'am, please reshare it.
I've already reshared it, ma'am.
All
If
right,
you
great.
want, again, I'll share.
So anybody else is having any doubt? Ask. Everything is fine and okay? You are clear with demo PPT and course? Okay. So type it in the chat box. What are your class days? Then I'll not take much time and I'll move ahead for the demo. Type it in the chat box. What are your class days and class timings? Let me see whether you have seen the presentation carefully or not. Oh, days are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Is it? And what are the timings? Sharani has given a correct answer. What are the timings? Great. So the timing will be 8 p.m. to 9:15 p.m. Good job, everyone. So all over to you, Anjali ma'am. I think they are good to go for the demo. Show me thumbs up quickly on the screen, then we'll move ahead. All right. All the best. We'll see you around.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so kids, let's start with today's demo. So for today, I have taken the topic plants. Okay, I'll share my screen with you. Thumbs up. Is my screen visible? Okay. So today I have taken the topic plants, right? So are plants important in our life? What is their role? What is the importance? Are they living? Write down the information in the chat box that you know about plants. So do you think they are living things like us? Do they need food? Are they important in our life? Whatever you know, you just write about the plants. A little bit information, that's it. I just want to know that whether you know about plants. Yes, plants give us air, right? In specific, if I say they give us oxygen, the most important. Very good, Sharanya. Right, the most important that we require because we take oxygen for respiration, right? And plants are responsible for that. So that is the greatest importance of plants. Then, yes, of course, they give us oxygen. Then they give us food, right? We cannot prepare our own food. They are the sole producers. Can we call them producers? Yeah, food and oxygen. So we can call them producers because without plants, right, sun's energy won't be utilized and food won't be available on the earth. So whether it is herbivores or carnivores, directly or indirectly, omnivores, all the organisms, consumers, we are all depending on plants, right? Either we want to have plant-based food or animal-based food, but we should indirectly or directly depend on plants. Then, so they are important, right? And they are living beings. They are living, they grow, they respire, they produce food, they undergo excretion, they undergo transportation. So they come under the category of living beings. The only difference is they don't undergo locomotion, right? You don't see them moving from this place to that place. But other than that, they are similar to animals or similar to us in all other matters, right? So what are we going to learn today? We are going to learn about the parts of the plants, right? What is the structure of the different parts? What are the different important roles of those parts or functions of those parts? Then different adaptations in plants, right? So you go to polar regions or you go to desert regions or evergreen forest region, equatorial regions. So when you go to different places, you see different kinds of plants, right? So that is the adaptation. Their features, their characteristics are adapted according to that environment. So we will see how the climate changes their structure, how the climatic changes forms adaptations in plants. And then finally, we will be discussing about benefits of plants. What is their importance? So already we have discussed few benefits. We'll be discussing more about the medicinal values of the plants. Okay. Okay, so here I have shown a normal plant, a normal structure of the plant. So I'm just labeling. This is suppose part A. So can you identify what is this part A? Roots, right? So Mukt has given the answer roots. So this part A can be called as roots of the plant. Okay, then let me label this particular part B. What can you call this particular part? Stem, right? Don't get confused. So this one would be leaves. I would say C part, right? And the B part is the shoot or the stem. Very good, Mukt. Very good, Naisa. Yes, Shreyansh. Yes, leaves. Okay, and then yes, Shreyansh, you can share your answer in the chat box since I cannot unmute yourself. What would be this part that I have labeled? I'll call it as D. What is D? And what is E? Flower. So Naisa is saying flower. D or E? So D is the flower. Then what will be E? Scroll it down. Reyansh, what do you mean? What I have to scroll down? Naisa is saying fruit, right? Okay. Seeds. So I can say it's in the budding stage, right? It has not completed and formed the fruit formation. It's in the budding stage. So bud we can call it.
Actually,
So
ma'am,
Reyansh,
in case I think any of the child is not able to write, I guess
you're not
any of the
able to
elder is
see.
not around him, so you can unmute him and you can ask him what he wants to say.
Actually, he's not able to see my screen. So is my screen not visible?
Let him unmute once. Yes, Riyansh, please speak better.
Ma'am, when you are writing flower, stem and all, but the picture is the same where it is written plants grade 4 science. There's no picture in the middle. You didn't scroll it.
So the second screen is not visible.
No, he's
Yes.
saying second slide is not visible. That's correct, ma'am. Only first slide is there.
Okay, just
Yeah.
wait a second. I'll just share the screen again. Okay, so that how others were answering it correctly. Is it
Yes,
visible now?
it's visible.
Okay, so this was what I was labeling, I was writing, and you were answering it correctly without seeing the slide. Okay. So that's a good start. So once again, I'll just say, so you were answering it correct. This was what I was labeling. So these are roots, right? This is the stem structure. Then you have leaves. I'll write here. Now, is it visible? Thumbs up. Okay. So this is stem, leaves, the green colored part. You have the bud, that means that is yet to be bloomed, right? It has grown. It is in the budding stage, completely covered. And then you have the flower, the colorful part of the plant. So this is the basic structure of plant. Of course, fruits are also there. So flower will turn into fruits, right? So let's discuss about each of the structure one by one. So roots are present below the soil, right? They are responsible for absorbing water and minerals from the soil. Then stem provides a support to the plant. It helps the plant to be held upright. Then you have leaves. Leaves work like kitchen of the plant, food factory, where the actual process of photosynthesis happens or food making process happens. Then flowers, they are the most attractive part of the plant. They will lead to seeds, formation of fruits and seeds, and they will help in reproduction of plants. Okay, so let's discuss about each of the part in detail. I'll proceed on to the next slide. Please inform me if you're not able to see. Okay. So my next slide is about roots. Is it visible to you? Thumbs up? Fine. So now let's discuss about two roots system that you might have seen in the plants. Have you plucked out the roots and observed, or have you done transplantation? Or have you noticed the roots? Because they are present underground, right? So you don't see them. But if you plucked it out, or if you have transplanted the plant from one pot to another pot, then you might have seen. If you have seen, then you might have noticed that there are two types of root system based on the structure. One is taproot system. So taproot system means where only a single center will be present, a main root will be present, okay? And the side roots would be growing in the sides laterally. And these type of roots will go deep down into the earth's soil or into the ground, because the main central root will grow vertically. And in the fibrous root, what is absent in the fibrous root? The main root is absent. So they don't have a central root or a main root. They just have small subroots or lateral roots growing sideways, downwards, and in every direction. Okay. So if you want to check that, you can just pluck out some grass. Then you would notice that it has a fibrous root system. And in taproot system, we are all consuming the taproot in the form of carrots, radish, right? So if you have consumed it, you will notice that taproot, the carrot is actually a taproot where the food is stored. So root can also be used for the storage of food. So edible roots, we call such roots as edible roots, where you can consume them because the food is stored in them. So food is prepared in the leaves, of course, but food can be stored in different parts of the plant. So there are two kinds of roots: taproot with a main central root and fibrous root with no main central root, and they just grow in random direction. Shall I proceed to the next slide? Yes or no? Okay. Okay, this one. So you can see the diagrammatical presentation of fibrous root and taproot. Is it visible? So this is what I was talking about. A main root present and some side roots growing sidewards, but they are just growing from the main central root. So this is the important root. And in fibrous root, there is no main root, right? All of them are growing randomly in a network of direction. Okay. Then you have other modifications of roots. For example, you have respiratory roots. You have roots present outside, like banyan tree. Have you seen a picture of banyan tree? Have you seen a picture of buttress root? I will show. Okay, this one is a banyan tree where you have hanging roots. See? So there are exceptional cases where the roots can be seen outside. We call these roots as prop roots, adventitious roots, where they have another function, not only for the supporting or not only for absorbing the nutrients, they have another support. For example, this banyan tree supports itself. So roots are growing downwards, as well as you have hanging roots which are growing from above the branch area or the crown area, to give a support to the heavy weight of the banyan tree. You have breathing roots like mangroves. These are breathing roots, or you call it as pneumatophores. So these breathing roots, because of the less presence of oxygen or oxygen in less amount, or because of the marshy area, because of the presence of moisture content in the soil, they are not able to properly breathe, or they are not able to get oxygen properly. So you can see the roots are outside the wet soil or the coastal areas. You can see them outside. So here we call it as breathing roots because they come out because of less supply of oxygen. Here you can see buttress roots. These are also adventitious roots. They are buttress roots. So here you can see parallelly roots are growing in all directions outside. Right? Laterally, they are growing outside the soil. You can see them visibly. This also helps them in overall support or anchoring. Okay. So primary function of roots, as I said, primary function is to anchor the plants firmly to the ground to give support to the plant. And another function is to absorb water and nutrients from the soil, right? So they don't have a proper digestive system. They don't have a mouth to intake the water and minerals. So what do? What as human beings or caretakers, what we do is just we are giving them the water directly at the root site, and in the roots there are root hairs present. So these root hairs will do like straw. How do you drink a juice out of the straw? Right? You pull that air from the straw, right? So same happens. The root hair also does the work like the straw effect, straw pulling effect, where they are just pulling the water and the nutrients also will be pulled or sucked. So that straw effect is used by the roots to pull the water to great heights. And these are the secondary functions. Edible roots. Edible roots means the roots would store food, like in case of carrot, radish, etc. Where food is being stored and you can consume them as omnivores. You can depend on plants. Herbivores are depending on plants completely for the food. Then aerial roots, roots which you can see outside, right? Breathing roots like roots of mangroves. Then one more thing is soil conservation, right? So soil conservation, how do they do that? Now roots are tightly holding the soil, right? So if there are no trees, there are no roots, then the soil is left very loose. So what would happen if wind is blowing or the water is flowing through that particular area? The top layer of the soil, which is very fertile, it will be washed off. We call it as soil erosion, right? The washing away, the clearing away of the soil due to the action of wind or water or any other agent. But the presence of trees, the presence of roots particularly, will hold the soil tightly and will not allow the erosion of the soil. So in this manner, they are conserving the soil also. Okay? Is it clear? Shall I proceed? Yes? Let's move on to the next slide. Is my next slide visible to you? Yes. Okay, so this is what I was saying, aerial roots. So actually root system is present inside or underground. We call it as root system that is present underground. But in some cases, aerial roots, prop roots, buttress roots, they are present outside. So you can see them outside, but there they have some other function, right? They have function of either supporting the plant, anchoring the plant, right? They have support of giving the oxygen to the plant directly from air. So that is the reason why the roots are growing outside or how you see them outside. So since you are seeing them outside, that is why you call them as aerial roots. So they grow from the stem region of the plant and they grow above the ground, right? The shoot system is above the ground, but in some cases, the roots also grow above the ground. So there you call them as adventitious roots. Another name for breathing roots, pneumatophores. Can you see this slide? Pneumatophores. So I hope this is a new term for you, isn't it? Yeah. So pneumatophores is the name for the breathing roots. The function is same, like they need the oxygen and carbon dioxide, which is supplied in the air, right? But when they are in the marshy areas, presence of water, presence of moisture in the soil, presence of lot of clay soil, alluvial soil and all, would cut off the supply of air or oxygen, CO2. And for that reason, they come out. They grow out of the ground and their function is to breathe. So they take oxygen and CO2 directly from the oxygen they take, because CO2 they will get from the leaves also, right? So for taking out oxygen mainly, they come out of the soil. Okay, so they also undergo respiration. We think that plants require only CO2, right? Sometimes we think, okay, CO2 is required for photosynthesis, but we forget that plants are living beings. So they require oxygen also. CO2 is of course required for undergoing photosynthesis process, but oxygen is also a requirement, right? Because like us, they also require oxygen for respiration, but their breathing rates are less. They don't have a proper respiratory system like lungs. They don't have. They require less oxygen, but they require oxygen for various activities. So for that, they don't have separate organs like nostrils. They don't have lungs to take the oxygen. They have certain spaces like root hairs are there where nematophores are present, right? In the stem region, lenticels are there, small holes or pores through which oxygen will enter. Okay, and during the night time, when they are not doing under photosynthesis, night time they will not do photosynthesis because sunlight is not there. So during the night time, they will get oxygen through stomata. Stomata is the small holes present. Okay, and in the daytime, mostly they will take CO2. So plants also require oxygen. Okay, this is buttress root, again a modification of aerial root where you can see large roots, okay, coming out or from the sides of the tree, growing laterally in various directions. So this is also for anchoring the plant, providing a mechanical support to a tree that is having very heavy bark or trunk region. So the function is to anchor the plant. Okay, now let us discuss about the stem. So stem is present above the ground. You can see the stem of the plant. But have you noticed that different plants have different types of stem, and we categorize plants in different categories like herbs, shrubs, trees, climbers, creepers? Have you learned about them? Examples or definitions? Yes? Yeah. Okay, so based on what type of stem they are having, they are categorized, right? So first category I'll talk about herbs. The plants with soft stems and very short sized, right? We call them as herbs. So they have very soft stems, very weak stems, very tender stems we can call, and their height is also very small. So small heighted plants are called as herbs, right? And their seasons are very less, like 2 to 3 months they stay and then their season is over. Then we have second category, that is shrubs. So they are not as soft as herbs, but they cannot be called as trees also. They lie in moderate range. So they have a little bit hard stem and they are moderate in height. So they lie somewhere between. So herbs are very low heighted and then trees are tall and shrubs lie in a moderate height. And their thickness of the stem is not as hard as the trees, but it's soft, not as soft as herbs also. It also lies in the between. So we can call it as thick, but not as thick as trees. So it's not a woody stem, right? Stems are still green in color. And then we have thick, hard stem and tall height plants. So we call them as trees. So we can see the trunk region or bark region that is very hard because that is of dead cells. Okay. The stem has grown and now the stem region is covered with a hard outer covering of dead cells. So that is why it turns brown in color or black in color, and we call it as a bark or trunk part. And that stem has turned very hard because now it is made up of fully dead cells outside. So inside living cells are there, but from outside it's completely dead. So except other than this herbs, shrubs and trees, we have one more category of plants, two more categories of plants. Right? Okay. So Nysa is talking about Tulsi, right? Usually I'm saying right? So herbs stay usually for some seasons, and then shrubs for years, and then you have trees for many years. So that is the usual condition, but there will be exception. Okay, Naisa? The next category is of climbers and creepers. So climbers means they are not able to stand upright because stem has to support them, right? Stem is supporting them to stay upright, but their stem is very weak. So it cannot support them properly. So what do? Those weak stem would take the support of something nearby, either a wall or staircase or sticks or some other plant. They take their support and then they climb on them. So that is why they are called as climbers. So they have weak stems, they cannot stand upright, they cannot stand on their own, they take the support of other plants or anything else. Yes, that is nearby. So either it can be walls or sticks. Stems, but they cannot climb up because their fruits are very heavy, right? Like as you can see in this picture, watermelon, right? So because the fruit is very heavy, they cannot climb also. Even if they get the support of any other plant or stick, they won't be able to climb. So they just creep. Creep means they will just grow parallelly along the ground, horizontally. So since they are creeping on the ground, since they are growing along the ground, so we call them as creepers. Is it clear? So these are the different categories of plants based on their stem. So based on their stem, we have categorized. Money plants, climbers, right? They don't have heavy fruits. So we call money plants as climbers, right? Yes, they are able to roll around the trees. Okay. So for the different categories based on roots, now we have seen the different categories based on stem as well. Let's move on to the next slide. Let's come on to the most important part of the plant, that is leaves. So before discussing about leaves, I just want to discuss about a term called as chlorophyll. I don't know if you have heard of this term or not. Have you heard of chlorophyll? Yes, right? Because it's very important. So chlorophyll is the green colored pigment present in plants, right? That is why the leaves are in green color. So if the leaves are not in green color, that doesn't mean they don't have chlorophyll. They might be having chlorophyll, but other colored pigments are more. So that is why the green color is not observed. Okay, so the green colored pigment is present, and that is why the leaves are in green color. And this pigment is very important because this helps the leaves to prepare food. So the other name of the plant is food factories or kitchen. Leaves are called as food factories or kitchen of the plant, because their most important role is to prepare food, because they have or they would die. No, they won't die actually. They would find other modes of nutrition. Reyansh. For example, suppose chlorophyll pigment is absent in them. They will form parasitic mode of nutrition, right? Like amar bale. They cannot prepare their own food, but they will take nutrients from others. That is parasitic mode of nutrition. Then there are plants which would consume dead organisms like mushrooms. They will grow on dead and decaying organisms. So it's not necessary that if chlorophyll is missing in them, they would die. Okay, so most of the plants are in the autotrophic category, or green plants are producers of food, but there are plants with other modes of nutrition also. Right? Is it clear, Riyansh? So the main role of chlorophyll is to trap the sunlight. So sun's energy or light energy is very necessary, because if they want to perform work, if they want to cook food, or if they want to prepare the food, they need energy, right? And from where do the plants will get energy? They get energy from sun, solar energy. Without energy, work is not possible. If I tell you, you have to work or if you have to do something, right? You would tell me that I need to have my breakfast first or I need to have my lunch. I feel so tired. From where does that energy comes from? Your energy will come from the food that you take, right? Now plants have to prepare their food. That means they have to do some work. So they get the energy from the sun. So this chlorophyll acts like a trapper of sun's energy. So it will absorb sun's energy and then it will convert the solar energy into chemical energy. How? By the process of photosynthesis, right? That process is photosynthesis, where it will prepare food using the solar energy. So that is why chlorophyll is important. Okay. And some plants, they have more red leaves or white patches on the leaves. That doesn't mean that they don't have chlorophyll. That just means that other colored pigments are present more and they just counter effect the chlorophyll pigment. And some plants are called as non-green plants like mushrooms. So their mode of nutrition is different. That means they depend on dead organisms, dead plants, dead leaves, dead animals. That means they are not autotrophs or they are not producers. They are saprotrophs. We call such organism as saprotrophs or saprophytes. Okay. So we can divide the plants into two categories, green and non-green plants, based on their chlorophyll pigment and based on their mode of nutrition. Like how do they have their food? Either they prepare on their own or they depend on something else for the food. So that is why learning about chlorophyll is important. Okay. After that, there is another important structure on the leaves, that is stomata. Right? They are not visible. If you see under a microscope, only then it will be visible to you, right? So have you heard about stomata? Yeah. The small holes or the tiny pores, right? That is present at the undersurface of the leaf, and in aquatic plants and all, more stomata is on the upper surface, right? And it is visible only under a microscope. So in your schools and all, yes, you will have some science experiments. That time the teacher would take you to the labs and they would show you a stomata. They would take a small cross section of leaf, they will cut it ventrically and they will show you the small pores present on the surface of the leaf. Now this stomata helps in exchange of gases. They need CO2, they will give and take out oxygen, right? Water also, loss of water will be there continuously through stomata. So these are the material exchanged and that is why holes are required. And here comes the role of stem. The stem has to hold the leaves upright so that sunlight is falling on the leaves, sunlight is falling on the chlorophyll, plus gases exchange is taking place from the atmosphere. Okay, and if you see the leaves, there are so many network of lines. We call them as veins, right? These veins are like veins and arteries of our body. They do the work of transportation, right? They don't have blood, but they are also transporting food and minerals, water also. So veins are taking the water, minerals and food from the leaves to different parts, from the roots to leaves. So they are doing the work of transportation or transferring the substances. Okay. So food is being prepared in the leaves, but it has to reach the roots also. And roots are absorbing water and minerals, but it has to reach the leaves also. So these veins form the connection. Like how our heart is pumping the blood, but all our organs are receiving the blood, right? So same happens here also. One organ is prepared, yes, food pipe for leaves. So not only food pipe, it transfers food, it transfers water and minerals, everything, right? It is like veins in our body, arteries in our body. So same thing. Is it clear? Okay. Now let's discuss the most important thing about the plants. You said plants give us food, right? How do they give us food? Through this process, photosynthesis. Photosynthesis, if you split this word, it is light. Photo stands for light and synthesis stands for combine. That means in presence of light, certain substances are combining together to form food. And this is how plants are able to prepare their food. This is why plants are called as food factories. This is why plants are called as, or leaves are called as kitchen of the plant, because they can perform photosynthesis. And this is the reason why we are depending on plants, or we call plants as producers, because we don't have the ability to use the sun's light and prepare our food. We have to depend on plants, or yes, putting together. Synthesis means putting together, right? So we have to depend on plants directly. We are omnivores, so we are having plant-based food. If we are consuming animals also, those animals are getting from plants, right? So directly or indirectly, we require plants. And without plants, life is not possible. So what are the other requirements of photosynthesis? First requirement is chlorophyll, as chlorophyll is required for trapping the sunlight, right? So sunlight should be there. That means photosynthesis will happen only during the daytime, in presence of light, right? And then along with that, what else they require? They require water. So water they get from the roots. We learned that roots help in absorption of water. And then they require CO2. CO2 is essential for photosynthesis. CO2 will be taken by the stomata, the small holes, the tiny pores present in the leaf. Yes, the glucose is actually sugar, a form of sugar, simple sugar. So after photosynthesis, they get glucose. You can call it as simple sugar, simple carbohydrate. Okay. And then along with that, oxygen is also released. So during daytime, they have oxygen from photosynthesis process, right? But during the night time, they will take oxygen for respiration process. So during daytime, oxygen is released out or given out because excess of oxygen would be present in the plants. But during the night time, they would absorb oxygen. So that is why it is advised that don't sleep under a tree or under the plants during the night time, because during the night time, they are giving out CO2 like us. Yes, Rayansh, you are correct. So they make sugar that is in the form of glucose. That is simple sugar. And they will store this glucose in the form of starch. Starch is used by us. Excess of that glucose is used by us. So starch can be stored in the leaves or in the fruits, in the flower, in the stem, in the roots. So we have different edible parts, right? Sometimes edible parts is the root system. No. Photosynthesis cannot take place in moonlight or night light. It requires solar energy for it because chlorophyll is able to absorb the solar energy. Okay. Fine. So this is the equation of photosynthesis. Water and CO2 will combine in presence of sunlight, in presence of chlorophyll to give glucose, that is the food or simple sugar, plus oxygen is also released. And this process is called as photosynthesis. So in presence of light, this is combined. Okay. Shall I proceed on to the next slide? Okay. Now, one more important function that leaves does, or we can say stomata, the small holes does, is the transpiration. Now, it is a necessity as well as sometimes it is an evil. That means it has disadvantages also. So through stomata, what happens? Now, stomata has to be open during the daytime because continuously plants are taking carbon dioxide for photosynthesis, and they are giving out CO2. Sorry, they are taking CO2 for photosynthesis and they are giving out oxygen. So during the daytime, what is happening? Stomata has to be open, right? When the stomata is open, what will happen? The water will escape out from the plant in the form of water vapor. Because sun's light energy is there, so it will cause evaporation. Have you heard of this word, evaporation? Yes? Yeah. So what will happen? The water present in the leaves, because the pores are open, so light energy is heating up the water. So water is converting into vapor state and evaporating. This process of loss of water is called as transpiration. Now it is important because due to transpiration, what would happen? There will be continuous flow of water, right? So when the upper water leaves are losing the water from the base of the plants will go up. But if excess loss happens, the leaves will get dried up. So there is advantage that through transpiration, they would maintain their temperature, they would maintain the water balance. But if it happens in excess, like during the summer seasons, if you're not providing enough water to the plants, then the plants would dry up. All the water would be lost and there is no more water to be absorbed. So during summer season, you should know that rate of transpiration is very high. During daytime, the rate of transpiration is very high because daytime stomata will be open. But during nighttime, stomata will be closed. So transpiration will be very less during nighttime. But during daytime, stomata will be open. So you should give the proper water to the plants. You should take proper care of them, especially during summer seasons. Okay. So we can call it as a necessary evil because water absorption will take place from the roots because continuously water is being given out through stomata. So there is a continuous supply of water and it also helps the plants to regulate their temperature. Right. Okay, so transpiration is important for maintaining the temperature, but excess of transpiration will cause negative impacts. Now, this is the reason desert plants, have you seen desert plants? They don't have leaves or their leaves are modified into spines like aloe vera or cactus plant. Have you seen that? Desert plants? No? In pictures? No? Yeah. So have you noticed they don't have a leaf-like structure? They have spines, right? If not, you can just next time you can notice, okay, see a aloe vera plant or see, just Google the picture of that aloe vera plant or in your books also. In science books, you can just see, check out the picture. So you will notice that there are no leaves. Now there are no leaves because already in the desert region, there is scarcity of water, shortage of water, right? So if the leaves are present, then what would happen? Water will be lost. The plant will dry out. So instead of that, their leaves are modified into spine-like structure, spines or needle-like structure so that transpiration won't happen. Okay, so in desert plants, this transpiration don't happen because the leaves are, they would breathe through their stems. So stomata is not the only thing, right? Breathing would happen through their stem. Okay, breathing would happen through their roots. They don't require so much oxygen like us, right? So through their stems, through their roots, breathing would happen, right? And based on that, if they require more oxygen, then they will open the stomata. Based on the requirement, they can close and open the stomata. That function is also done by water. Okay, so water has, yes. So that is why desert plants, they store water in the stem region because they don't have leaves, right? So water, food, minerals, everything is stored in the stem region. So they have swollen stem. And the water can close and open the stomata. So whenever the leaves feel that they have to take in oxygen or CO2 or something, the water will fill the stomatal pores and the pores will open. And when the water comes out of the kidney-shaped cells which are in the stomata, the pores will close. So they can control. They can control the exchange of gases depending on their need. Okay, and they have other methods also, like they can breathe through their stem and roots also. So they don't need always the stomata for breathing. Clear? Can you see my next slide? Buds. Okay. So before the flower comes out, before the flower blooms out, we can say that they are in the stage of buds, right? You all are buds. We call especially school-going children, teenagers as buds, because you are growing, you are developing. And once you reach adulthood stage, you complete your education, you enter into professional life, then you will turn into flower, right? That means you are still in the growing stage. So same is with buds. They are in the growing stage, right? They come out of the axial part of the leaf, stem. Sorry. So before they bloom out, they are closed in the sepals, right? So green colored leaves protect them. Sepals are there, we call them as sepals. They protect them from any kind of, so there is food being stored in the buds so that it helps them in proper development. They vary in their size, shape and color, and when they blooms out, they turn into flowers. So you all are buds. And you are growing, you are developing, you are receiving education, you are growing mentally, physically, and emotionally in presence of your parents, teachers, and your peers. Yes. So that you can finally be a flower of your choice. Right? Other than that, what are the uses of flower? So flowers are the most attractive part. They are used for making of perfumes. They have good fragrance to attract insects. They are used for medicinal purposes. They are used for decorations and cosmetics. They are used to make tea, kinds of tea. They produce nectar, which again helps the honeybees to make honey. Their color pigments, different colors can be extracted from the flower petals, right? They make the fruit. So flowers are responsible for reproduction. So they will turn into fruit, and fruits will contain the seeds which would help in the germination of new plant. Some flowers are edible. Okay, so they can store food, they can be used, they can be consumed. So these are the different uses of flower. Fine. Okay. Let's wind up the session with small questions. Actually, in the actual session, what would happen? I will discuss the topic with you. Then I will share a worksheet with you, which we will be solving together. So right now, there are 2 questions which you can see, and you can type your answers in the chat box. So I set up an experiment with the plant as shown in the picture. I placed the plant in a dark room for a few hours. And then I placed it back in sunlight. After 6 hours, I performed iodine test. So iodine test, I would tell you, those who know, any idea why iodine test is done? Anyone? No idea? Have you done iodine test before in lab or in your class? No? You're listening about iodine test first time? Okay. I'll tell you, iodine test is to test the presence of starch or carbohydrate, right? As I said, plants prepare food in the form of glucose, which is stored in the form of starch. So what will happen when you put iodine solution on the leaf? If the leaf contains starch, or if the leaves contain the food prepared by photosynthesis, they will turn into blue-black color, bluish-black color, right? Otherwise, iodine solution is in dark red color. So if the test is negative, it would be in dark red color. And if the test is positive, it would be in bluish black color. Okay, so Rayansh is saying first answer, leaves with black strip in the middle would show complete positive result. So what about others? Do you agree with Rayansh answer? He is going with option 1. Me too, answer 1. Naisa is also agreeing with Rayansh. Sharanya is also agreeing with Rayansh. First, so all of you agree. Okay, let me be very clear to you. Okay, so black strip, see the black strip is used to cover the surface of the leaf. That means when you have kept the leaf or the plant back in sunlight, the black surface was not able to absorb sun's light. It would just absorb the heat energy, right? The black strip would only absorb the heat energy of the sun, not the light energy, because black surface would reflect the light. So if black strip is present in the leaves, how will the leaves prepare food? They won't be able to do photosynthesis, right? So starch test will show negative result. So the answer should be green leaf, because they kept both the plant in the dark room, by which they have removed all the food from the plant. Then they kept it back in the sunlight. So again, the plants are preparing food, but there are leaves with black strip in the middle. So they are not receiving the sunlight. So if you do iodine test on them, they would show a negative result. So the green colored leaves will only show a positive result, because in the green color, chlorophyll is there, and chlorophyll was able to absorb that sunlight and do the photosynthesis. That means it was able to prepare the food. So it's answer number 2. Okay, next one. Rayansh is saying X is cactus and Y is mushroom. Okay, let's see. X can make its own food in its stem and Y has to depend upon others. Yes, Rayansh, you are correct. So you can see both the plants do not have leaves. One is a desert plant and one is a saprotroph. Saprotroph means it is a non-green plant, right? It does not have chlorophyll pigment. So cactus can prepare its food because it's green in color, but it will use stem because leaves are modified into spines. But mushrooms, since there is no green color, right? So it will depend on other plants, dead plants and animals. It would grow on dead plants and animals. Okay, so X is cactus and Y is mushroom. Yes, Naisa, Sharanya, you are correct. Okay. I will stop sharing. So this is how your class would go on, right? I have just took a demo. I just took certain topics, but in actual class, we would go according to the syllabus, according to the schedule provided, and we will solve worksheets also with a break. So today you didn't have a break, but in the normal classes, we would have a break as well. Okay. So see you everyone in the regular batch, and then let us interact with each other. Okay, then goodbye everyone. Bye-bye.